Vera noticed the empty seat immediately. Third row, left side, the same place Ilara always sat. Empty. Her gaze lingered there a second longer than it should have before she forced herself to look away. It didn't mean anything. People missed classes all the time. Still, Vera's eyes kept drifting back to the door, waiting. By the middle of the lecture, irritation had settled under her skin. She's avoiding you. This time, the thought didn't feel uncertain. It felt deliberate. By the time class ended, Vera was already on her feet. The hallway buzzed with students packing up between lectures. Vera spotted Maya near the lockers, calmly organizing papers into her bag. Maya, right? Maya looked up. Vera? You seen Finch today? Maya studied her for a moment, noticing the tension Vera wasn't bothering to hide. She texted me this morning, Maya said. Said she went to the public library to study. Needed quiet. Vera nodded. Oh. A small, unwelcome sting followed. She texted Maya. Not her. The jealousy felt ridiculous immediately. Vera shoved it aside. Thanks, she muttered, already turning away. The public library was quieter than campus, the kind of silence that pressed in, thick, uninterrupted, broken only by the occasional turn of a page or distant footsteps. Vera moved through the aisles slowly, until she saw her. Ilara stood halfway down a shelf, scanning book spines with focused precision, a stack already balanced neatly against her hip. She looked composed. Too composed. Like everything was under control. Vera watched her for a moment, then stepped closer. Didn't know you were cheating on the college library. Ilara flinched slightly before turning. The irritation on her face was immediate. What are you doing here? She asked flatly. Vera leaned casually against the shelf like she belonged there. Thought I'd expand my academic horizons. Ilara didn't smile. You stalk people professionally now? Only the interesting ones. Ilara turned back to the books, clearly unimpressed. You should find a new hobby, she said, sliding another book free. This one's getting predictable. Vera huffed a quiet laugh, but her eyes didn't leave Ilara. Something about her felt off. Too controlled. Too distant. The teasing didn't land the way it usually did. Vera straightened slightly. Are you okay? Ilara's hand paused briefly on the spine of a book before she forced it into her stack. I'm fine. Vera didn't buy it. That didn't look like fine this morning, she said, stepping a little closer. Your mom showed up. You don't think I'm not going to ask about that? Ilara's shoulder stiffened. It's handled. That's not an answer. Ilara exhaled slowly, like she was already tired of the conversation. It doesn't matter, Vera. Vera hesitated for a second, then closed the remaining distance between them. She stepped closer, slowly, carefully, like approaching something fragile that might disappear if she moved too fast. Ilara felt her before she fully registered her presence, warmth at her back, the faint, uneven rhythm of Vera's breath in the quiet aisle. It was subtle, but familiar. Too familiar. This is what I'm about to lose, she thought, and she hated how easily her body recognized it. How natural it felt to have Vera this close. How much she'd missed it. Vera leaned in, resting her head lightly against Ilara's shoulder. Not demanding, not forcing, just there. It does to me, she said quietly. Ilara's eyes lowered slightly, her grip tightening around the books in her arms. For a second, she almost leaned back into her. Almost. But she held herself still. Because letting herself have this, again, would only make it harder when it was gone. Vera stayed there, close enough that Ilara could feel the warmth of her through the thin fabric of her shirt. It worries me when you get like this, she added softly. I don't like it when you shut me out. The words settled between them. Ilara swallowed. There's no point in this, she said after a moment, her voice quieter now. It can't. Vera didn't pull away. Her head still rested against Alara's shoulder as she spoke, voice low. What do you mean? Alara turned her head slightly. There was something unguarded in her expression. I'm leaving, she said. The words hit like a brick. Vera blinked. What? I'm transferring, Alara continued, forcing the words out before she could stop herself. My mom's taking me home, she swallowed. So after Friday? I won't be here. The silence that followed felt too big for the space between them. So whatever this is, Alara gestured vaguely between them. It's already over. A small, bitter edge slipped into her voice. Not that it ever really started. Vera stared at her. You're leaving? She repeated. What? Why? Alara shook her head slightly. It's already decided. You can't just leave, Vera said, the words coming out sharper than she intended. She can't just decide that for you. She can, Alara replied quietly. And she has. Her gaze dropped for a second before she forced herself to hold Vera's again. It's done, so there's no point arguing about it. Vera took a step back. The shift was subtle, but it felt like something breaking. This is my fault, she said under her breath. Isn't it? Alara's expression tightened immediately. No. Don't. Vera shook her head. This all started when. No, Alara said again, firmer this time. I make my own decisions. I'm responsible for them. She stepped closer now, not letting Vera retreat into that thought. This has nothing to do with you, she added, so don't blame yourself. Vera looked at her for a long moment. Something unsettled, something determined. Then she let out a quiet breath. No, she said. Alara frowned slightly. No, Vera repeated more firmly this time. I'm not just going to stand here and let you disappear like this. Alara's chest tightened. Vera, I won't lose you, Vera said, already stepping back, resolve settling into her expression. Not like this. There was something final in the way she said it. Not desperate, not panicked. Certain. I'll fix this, she added. Then she turned and walked away down the aisle. Alara stood there, frozen in place. The books in her arms suddenly felt too heavy, and for the first time, it wasn't the idea of leaving that hurt the most. It was the look on Vera's face when she realized she might have to let her go. Vera didn't remember leaving the library. 1 second, Alara's hand had been in hers. The next, it was gone, and all that was left was the echo of her voice. I'm leaving. She moved through campus like something was chasing her. Students blurred past. Voices overlapped. None of it registered. She's leaving. The thought wouldn't settle. It clawed at her chest, sharp and relentless. She's actually leaving. Vera ran a hand through her hair, breathing uneven. No plan. No idea what she was doing. Just one thing, repeating over and over. Fix it. Then, she saw her. Even in a crowd, Alara's mother stood out, composed, impeccable, untouchable, like the world naturally moved out of her way. Vera didn't hesitate. She pushed forward, weaving through people, ignoring the looks, the muttered complaints as she shoved past. By the time she reached her, the woman was already turning away, walking toward the parking lot without a single glance back, like Vera wasn't even worth acknowledging. Wait, Vera called, catching up beside her. I need to talk to you. Still nothing. Just the sharp click of heels against pavement. Vera swallowed, forcing the words out. Please, it's about Alara. That made her pause, but only just. Alara's mother turned her head slightly, eyes cool, distant. Do you have no manners, child? She said flatly. Following me like this. Then she kept walking, dismissed, like that was the end of it. Something in Vera snapped. She followed anyway. Watched as the woman reached her car, opened the door, slid inside like this was just another minor inconvenience in her day. Like Alara, like everything, had already been decided. Vera's chest tightened. No. The engine started. No, no. Vera moved before she could think, stepping directly in front of the car, hands planted on the hood. No! Her voice cut through the space loud enough to turn heads. "I'm not letting you leave!" The engine idled. For a second, nothing. Then the driver's door opened again, slowly, deliberately. Alara's mother stepped out, expression sharpened with irritation. "I suggest you move," she said, voice cold, "before you make a bigger scene of yourself." Vera didn't move, didn't care who was watching. Her voice shook, but she didn't stop. "I won't," she said. "Not until you listen to me." A few students nearby had already stopped walking, watching. Vera didn't even look at them. "I won't let you take her away," she pushed on, louder now. "She doesn't deserve that." Silence. "She doesn't want to leave," Vera said, breath uneven. "And I'm not letting her get punished because of me." Alara's mother's gaze hardened. "You think this is about you?" "It is," Vera shot back. "This happened because of me, so don't take it out on her." Her hands curled into fists. "She has her final match on Saturday," she said, voice breaking slightly despite herself. "She's worked for that. She earned that spot. You can't just take it away like it doesn't matter." No response. So Vera kept going. Because if she stopped now, she'd lose her. "I know it matters to her," she said, softer but just as intense. "I know it does." Her throat tightened. "I know her dad wouldn't want her to miss it either." That did it. Enough. The word was sharp, cutting. Alara's mother stepped forward, composure cracking just enough to reveal something colder underneath. "You will not speak about her father," she said, voice low and controlled. "You have no right." Vera swallowed, but didn't back down. "I don't care," she said, and that was the truth. "I don't care what you think of me." Her voice dropped, quieter now, but heavier. "I've got nothing left to lose." A beat. "You're already taking away the most important person in my life." The words hung there, raw, unfiltered. Vera's chest rose sharply as she forced the rest out. "Please," she said. "I'll do anything." Her voice broke this time. "I mean it. This is my fault, so don't make her pay for it." She took a step closer. "Let her stay," she whispered. "I'm begging you." Silence stretched, long enough to hurt. Then, Alara's mother exhaled, pressing a hand briefly to her temple. "You are giving me a headache," she said, tone edged with annoyance. Vera stilled. Hope flickered, small, fragile. "If I allow her to remain," she continued, eyes settling back on Vera, sharp and calculating, "will you stop this display?" Vera nodded immediately. "Yes, anything." A pause, measured, deliberate. "Very well," she said at last. "I will give her one more chance." Relief hit Vera so fast it almost knocked the breath out of her, but it didn't last. "On one condition." Vera's stomach dropped. "You will stay away from her." The words landed heavy, final. "You will not speak to her, you will not approach her, you will not involve yourself in her life in any capacity." A step closer. "I do not want you anywhere near her, not in class, not on the field, not at this school in any way that disrupts her future." Silence. "You will remove yourself," she finished, "completely." Vera didn't move, didn't breathe. This was it, the trade, her or Alara's chance to stay. Her chest tightened painfully. For a second, just a second, she hesitated. Then, "Fine." The word came out quiet, barely there, but steady. Vera lifted her head, forcing herself to meet her gaze. "I'll stay away." Her fingers curled at her sides. "I won't talk to her. I won't go near her." Her throat burned. "I'll do whatever you want." A beat. Alara's mother studied her, then gave a small, satisfied nod. "See that you do." She turned, got back into the car, and this time, when the engine started, Vera stepped aside. The car pulled away, and Vera stood there, alone in the middle of campus, heart still racing, hands shaking, and something deep in her chest quietly breaking. Because she'd done it. She'd fixed it. Alara was staying, just not with her. Alara's phone rang before she even had time to process anything. Her mother's name lit up the screen. Her chest tightened. She answered immediately. "Hello? I will allow you to remain," her mother said, voice as composed as ever. "For the time being." Alara blinked. "What?" "I will be staying until your finals are complete," she continued. "If you slip again, there will be no second chances." A pause. "Prove yourself worthy." Relief hit Alara all at once. Yes, of course. Thank you, Mother. I won't disappoint you." The call ended just as quickly as it started. Alara stood there for a second, phone still in her hand. Then she smiled. A real one. Small at first, then growing. Vera. It had to be. There was no way her mother would just change her mind like that. Not without a reason. Not without her. Alara didn't hesitate. She pulled up Vera's contact and hit call. It rang once. Then call failed. She frowned. Tried again. Same thing. Again. Nothing. A strange feeling crept into her chest. Slow. Uneasy. She opened her messages, sent one, watched as it failed to deliver. The smile faded. No, that didn't make sense. Vera wouldn't. Her stomach dropped. A hollow, sinking feeling. What did you do? The week passed too fast, and not fast enough. Finals. The word echoed everywhere, on posters, in conversations, in the charged energy that filled the campus. This was it. Everything they'd worked for. Everything Alara had worked for. She should have been excited. Instead, she felt like she was barely holding herself together. Her locker door clanged shut harder than she meant it to. Around her, her teammates were buzzing. Laughter, nerves, last-minute chatter. Alara barely heard any of it. She hadn't seen Vera. Not once. Not in class. Not on the field. Not even across campus. And every time she tried to call, nothing. It sat heavy in her chest. That silence. That absence. Something's wrong. She dragged a hand through her hair, exhaling shakily. Just get through today. Just the match. But even that didn't feel right, because Vera wouldn't miss this. There was no way, which meant she'd be here. Alara's heart picked up at the thought. She couldn't wait anymore. Before she could second-guess it, she turned and headed out of the locker room, ignoring the calls from her teammates, ignoring where she was supposed to be. She made her way down the corridor toward the opposing team's locker room, stopped just outside, waited. Voices spilled out from inside, laughter, confusion. Then the door opened. A couple of Vera's teammates stepped out, still talking. Alara straightened slightly, listening without meaning to. "I still don't get it," one of them said. "Like, she just quit?" "Yeah, out of nowhere," the other replied. "Right before finals. Who even does that?" "It's Vera Blackwood. She lives for this stuff." "Exactly. That's why it's so weird." Alara's breath caught. "What?" The girls barely spared her a glance as they walked past, still talking, still confused. Alara didn't move, didn't think. Quit? No, that didn't make sense. None of this made sense. Her pulse spiked. She turned and ran. The field was already filling. Crowd noise building, energy rising, the clock ticking down. Alara pushed through people, scanning the sidelines frantically. Left, right. Scanned every face. Anything. Anyone. Vera. Nothing. Her chest tightened, breathing uneven. Then, she saw her. Not Vera. Her mother. Standing on the sidelines like she always was, but not quite the same. Usually, Vera's mother was easy to spot. Bright. Animated. The kind of energy that drew people in without trying. Now, it was quieter. Still warm. Still open. Just dimmed slightly, like something was missing. Like she was waiting for something that hadn't shown up. Hope hit fast, sharp. Alara didn't think. She ran across the field toward her, heart racing, desperate. "Mrs. Blackwood." The woman turned at the sound of her name, and her face lit up instantly. Alara! Alara slowed, a little thrown off by the warmth in her voice. You know who I am? Vera's mother laughed softly, like it was obvious. Of course I do. Vera talks about you all the time. That caught her off guard. A faint flush crept across Alara's cheeks, but it vanished just as quickly, urgency taking over. Where is she? Please, she asked, breath uneven. Vera, why did she quit? We were supposed to. Her voice faltered. Vera's mother's expression softened immediately. She reached out, resting a gentle hand on Alara's shoulder. Oh, sweetheart, she said warmly. Don't get yourself worked up like that. Alara shook her head slightly. I don't understand. She just disappeared. She blocked me. And now I hear she quit the team and My girl can be a little dramatic sometimes, her mother said with a small, knowing smile, though there was something quieter behind it. But if I had to guess, she tilted her head slightly. I think she was trying to help you. Alara blinked. What do you mean? A small pause. Then, you should go find her, she said gently, nodding toward the far side of the stands. I saw her head off that way. If I know Vera, she's hiding somewhere she can still watch the game without being seen. Alara's heart jumped. She's here? Of course she is, her mother said softly. She wouldn't miss this. Not when it matters to you. A beat. But you should hurry, she added, glancing toward the pitch. It's about to start. Alara didn't need telling twice. Right, thank you. And then she was moving again. She pushed through the edge of the crowd, cutting down along the side of the pitch, following the direction she'd been given. Her pulse was racing now. Hope, panic, relief, all tangled together. She's here. Alara turned the corner and stopped. Her mother stood just ahead on the sideline. For a second, Alara didn't process it, because it didn't make sense. Her mother, here? She hadn't come to one of her matches in years. And yet, there she was, perfectly put together, completely out of place against the muddy pitch and roaring crowd. Alara, her voice was calm, controlled. Where are you going? She asked. Shouldn't you be preparing to play? Alara's chest tightened, but this time, she didn't freeze. She stepped forward instead. I don't know what you did, she said, voice steadier than she felt, but I'm going after her. Her mother's gaze sharpened slightly. Alara, you don't have to approve of it, she cut in, shaking her head, emotions rising fast now. But I'm done pretending this isn't real. A breath, her hands curled at her sides. I know why you're like this, she continued, voice cracking slightly. I know why you try to control everything. A flicker, barely there, crossed her mother's expression. You're scared, Alara said. You're scared I'll end up like him. Silence. You think if you control every part of my life, I won't make the same mistakes, that I won't get hurt. Her throat tightened. But I can't live like that, she said, softer now. I can't keep suffocating just so you feel safe. For the first time, her mother didn't interrupt. I worked so hard to get here, Alara went on, not just for football, but to have something that was mine. A small pause. I just wanted us to be normal, she admitted quietly. I wanted you to trust me. That landed. Her mother's composure shifted, just slightly, not gone, but cracked. I didn't realize, she said slowly, her voice lower now, less certain, that this is how you felt. Alara swallowed. It is. A beat. Then she shook her head, stepping back. But I don't have time for this right now. Her heart was racing again, focused, certain. And you're wrong about her, Alara said, meeting her mother's gaze. She makes me better. The words hung there, firm, unshaken. And before her mother could respond, Alara moved, rushing past her, leaving her standing there, silent, still, and for once, with nothing to say. She found her tucked under a tree, just far enough from the crowds to be forgotten, high enough to see the pitch but hidden in the quiet edge where the noise dulled into a distant hum. Vera sat there, elbows resting on her knees, gaze fixed on the field, watching, not playing. Ilara? Vera looked up, startled, like she hadn't expected to be found. "What are you doing here?" she asked quickly, pushing herself up a little. "You should be—" "I don't know whether I should be angry with you," Ilara cut in, breath still uneven from the run. "Or just grateful you'd go this far to help me stay." Vera stilled. "Ilara, but I'm not letting you do this." That stopped her. Ilara stepped closer, closing the distance between them. "You don't get to decide this for me." She reached for her hand and pulled. "Come on." Vera resisted, gently but firmly pulling back. "Ilara, wait, your mom—" "My mom is overprotective," Ilara said, sharper now. "But this time she's gone too far." A beat. "I'm staying," she continued, voice steady with something new, something resolute. "Whether she likes it or not." Vera frowned slightly. "It's not that simple." "It is to me." Ilara didn't look away. "If I have to get a job, if I have to figure everything out on my own, then I will," she said. "I'm done letting her control every part of my life." Her grip tightened slightly. "And I'm definitely not letting her control you." Silence. "Ilara." Her voice was softer now, conflicted. Ilara stepped closer again, close enough that there was no space left between them. "I'm not doing this without you," she said quietly. "We're finishing what we started." A breath. One way or another, her eyes held Vera's. "So get up," she said, softer, but just as certain. "And face me." For a second, Vera just looked at her. Then, slowly, a smile pulled at the corner of her lips. Soft. Familiar. "There it is," she murmured. "That fire." Her eyes flickered with something warmer. "God, I love that about you." And just like that, she stood. Ilara didn't hesitate this time. She grabbed her hand, and Vera let her. They ran. Down the edge of the pitch, cutting through the rising noise of the crowd, the energy building as the final moments ticked closer, hand in hand, like neither of them were willing to let go again, until they reached the sidelines. And reality caught up. They slowed, hands slipping apart, not because they wanted to, but because they had to. Opposite teams, opposite sides, same game. A ripple of confusion spread across Vera's side as she stepped onto the edge of the pitch. Her teammates turned, double-taking, some of them mid-conversation, others just staring like they weren't sure if she was actually there. "Vera, I thought you— She quit, didn't she?" Vera didn't stop, didn't explain. She just lifted a hand slightly, calling out, "Coach." Her coach turned, clearly caught off guard, eyes narrowing for half a second before flicking between her and the field. Vera gave a small, subtle gesture toward the pitch, a question without words, a beat. Then, "Get out there," her coach barked back, voice cutting through the noise. "And don't you ever pull something like that again." A few of her teammates let out relieved laughs, shaking their heads as they moved back into position. Vera didn't say anything, just nodded once, and stepped onto the field. Vera glanced at her once more, that familiar spark back in her eyes. "Don't go easy on me, Finch." Ilara adjusted her stance, a small smile breaking through for the first time all week. "Wouldn't dream of it, Blackwood." The whistle was seconds away, the crowd roaring now, everything on the line. And this time, they were both exactly where they were meant to be. Across the sidelines, attention shifted, drawn away from the pitch for just a moment as two figures crossed paths. "Ilara's mother, right?" The voice was warm, bright enough to cut through the noise of the crowd. Ilara's mother paused mid-step, turned slightly. A woman stood beside her, smiling like they were already familiar, open, easy, completely unbothered. "And you are?" she asked, tone measured, composed. The woman's smile didn't falter. "Sarah Blackwood," she said lightly. "Vera's mom." A small beat. Alara's friends with my daughter. Alara's mother exhaled quietly. Of course, she said, almost under her breath. And I suppose you have something you'd like to say to me about your daughter as well. Sarah blinked once, then laughed softly, shaking her head. Oh, no, she said, waving a hand. I think my daughter's more than capable of making her own decisions. A small smile tugged at her lips. Honestly, I thought what she did was kind of romantic. That earned her a look. Sharp, disapproving. She is making poor decisions, Alara's mother replied coolly. Of course she is, Sarah said easily, without missing a beat. They all do. She shrugged, still smiling. That's kind of the point, isn't it? Silence. It's our job to worry, Sarah continued, tone softening just slightly. But it's also our job to let them figure things out. She glanced toward the pitch. All I can really do is be there when she needs me. Alara's mother didn't respond. Instead, Sarah tilted her head, studying her for a moment. Is this your first time coming to one of her matches? A pause. What makes you think that? Alara's mother asked. Sarah nodded toward the field, amused. Well, you're standing on the wrong side for starters, she said lightly. Opposing team usually sets up over there. A brief flicker of something crossed Alara's mother's face. I see. She straightened slightly. Well, in that case, I'll be going. She moved to step away, but Sarah reached out, not grabbing, just enough to stop her attention. Hey, it's fine, she said gently. You're already here. A small, encouraging smile. You should stay. Alara's mother hesitated. We can watch together, Sarah added. You might actually enjoy it. She glanced back toward the pitch, eyes softening. They're both spirited out there. A quiet laugh. It's kind of funny, honestly. The way they go at each other, you'd think they hate each other. A beat. But the second the game ends, she added, glancing back at her, Vera won't shut up about Alara. That caught her. From the first time they played, Sarah continued, a little more quietly now, I think my daughter admired her quite a bit. Silence settled between them. Not tense this time. Just still. Alara's mother looked out toward the field. Really looked. At her daughter. At the way she stood, focused, determined, exactly where she'd fought to be. At the girl across from her. And for a moment, something shifted. She's always been dedicated, she said finally, her voice lower than before. Too dedicated, perhaps. A pause. I thought if I kept her on the right path, she wouldn't. She stopped herself, the words catching. Sarah didn't interrupt, didn't push. I may have mistaken control for protection, Alara's mother admitted quietly. Sarah smiled, soft, understanding. Happens more than you think. A long breath. Then, slowly, Alara's mother stepped forward, not leaving, staying. Side by side with Sarah, both of them facing the pitch. The whistle was about to blow. Across midfield, Vera rolled her shoulders, grinning like she always used to, cocky, fearless, exactly where she belonged. Try to keep up this time, Finch, she called, a teasing edge in her voice, lighter than usual, but no less challenging. Alara let out a breath, something steadier anchoring her now. You're the one who disappeared, she shot back. Don't fall behind. A flicker of a smile passed between them. Then, the whistle blew, and just like that, everything else fell away. They were back to their old ways, hard tackles, sharp passes, relentless pressure. Their banter cut through the match as easily as their plays. Too slow, Alara shot as she slipped past Vera. Keep dreaming, Vera fired back, chasing her down and stealing the ball clean. They laughed, actually laughed, breathless and bright and competitive in a way that felt like coming home. The nostalgia hit them both at once, and instead of hurting, it felt good. Alive. At the sidelines, Alara's mother watched. She hadn't stood at one of these matches in years, Not since a time when her husband had still been there beside her, voice carrying over the crowd, pride worn openly. Now, she stood alone. Her eyes found Alara almost instantly. Tracked her movements across the pitch, the precision, the focus, the way she carried herself with a confidence she rarely allowed anywhere else. And then, that smile. Quick, unfiltered, breaking through every time Vera pushed her, challenged her, met her head-on. She felt it then. Not disappointment, not fear, understanding. This is where she belongs, she realized. And that is who brings her to life. The match was brutal and beautiful, neither side willing to give an inch. When the final whistle blew, Vera's side took it. A narrow win. The crowd erupted. Her teammates rushed her, shouting, grabbing at her, pulling her into the celebration. But Vera barely reacted. Her eyes were already elsewhere. Across the pitch, Alara. And instead of turning toward her team, Vera broke away, cutting through the noise, heading straight for midfield, where Alara was already waiting. They met at midfield, both soaked in sweat, hair messy, chests heaving as they reached for each other's hands. Vera's fingers tightened around hers first, breath still uneven, but her eyes steady. "You didn't make that easy for me," she said, a small, breathless smile breaking through. "You were tough to beat." Alara didn't let go. The noise of the pitch swelled around them, cheers echoing off the sidelines, teammates calling out, the sharp whistle of coaches cutting through it all. But it felt distant, muted, like none of it quite reached them here. At midfield, just the two of them, lungs burning, pulse racing, and neither of them letting go. What she felt was Vera. Her presence, solid and familiar and impossible to separate from the way Alara experienced this place. The field, the competition, the way her heart raced not just to win, but to meet her here, over and over again. It hit her all at once. How much of her life had quietly begun to orbit around Vera? The rivalry that pushed her harder than anyone else ever had. The banter that made her laugh when she hadn't realized she needed it. The chaos, the frustration, the honesty. How Vera had forced her to feel things Alara had spent years carefully controlling. This was where Alara felt most alive, and Vera was at the center of it. Not a distraction, not a mistake, not something temporary. It was a choice. Alara's grip tightened. "I love this," she said, voice steady despite the roar around them. "Being out here, competing with you, it makes me feel so alive." Vera's grin softened, sweat-dark hair falling into her eyes. "Yeah," she said quietly. "Me too." Something settled into place inside Alara. She didn't think. She stepped forward and kissed her. Right there, middle of the pitch, in front of everyone. It wasn't hesitant, it wasn't angry, it wasn't hidden. It was full and sure and unapologetic. Alara pouring every unsaid truth into the press of her lips, hands coming up instinctively to hold Vera close like this was exactly where she belonged. Vera froze for half a heartbeat, then melted into it, kissing her back with a breathless sound that felt like laughter and disbelief all at once. When they finally pulled apart, it was only enough to breathe, foreheads resting together, noses brushing, both of them smiling like they couldn't quite believe this was real. The crowd erupted. Cheers crashed over them in a wave, teammates shouting, whistles piercing the air, the field alive with noise and celebration. Vera pulled back just long enough to laugh, breathless and bright. "Well," she said, eyes shining, "guess that's one way to make things official." Alara smiled, wide, free, fearless. "I love you," she said simply. Vera's breath caught. Then she laughed again, softer this time, pressing her forehead back against Alara's. "Yeah," she said, voice thick. "I love you too." And there, standing under the open sky, with the crowd roaring and her heart wide open, Alara knew she'd never felt more certain of anything in her life. Once the chaos settled, the cheers fading into scattered voices, teammates pulling away, the intensity of the match finally easing, they walked together toward the sidelines. Not rushing, just there, side by side. "Vera!" Her mother reached her first, hands immediately coming up to cup her face, pulling her in like she'd been waiting all match to do it. "You were incredible," she beamed. "I mean it. You did so well, baby." Vera let out a soft laugh, a little breathless, but she didn't pull away. Okay, stop," she said, trying to pull back slightly. "You're embarrassing me." "Oh, please," her mother shot back, still holding her face, completely unbothered. "You love it." A few steps away, Alara stood in front of her own mother. For a moment, neither of them spoke, the weight of everything from earlier still lingering between them. Alara shifted slightly, hands still at her sides. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "For earlier. I shouldn't have. You played well." The interruption caught her off guard. Alara blinked. Her mother's gaze softened, just enough. "I'm proud of you," she said. A small pause, then quieter. "Your father would have been too." That did it. Alara's breath caught, the words hitting somewhere deep, somewhere she didn't let herself go often. "Mom," she said, voice unsteady. Her mother exhaled slowly, like the words didn't come easily, but she meant them. "I'm not going to take you away," she said. Alara stilled. "I'm going to try," she continued more carefully now, "to trust you. A little more." A faint, almost reluctant smile. "It won't be easy." A beat. "But your happiness matters." Another pause. "I'm sorry it took me this long to see that." Alara didn't hesitate this time. "It's okay," she said softly, her voice thick but steady. "Thank you." They stood there for a moment. Not perfect, not fixed, but closer than before. "Right!" Vera's mother's voice cut in brightly, appearing between them like she'd been waiting for her moment. "This calls for a celebration." Before either of them could react, she looped an arm through Alara's mother's. "We should go grab drinks," she said, already pulling her along. "Give the girls a minute." Alara's mother blinked, clearly caught off guard. Excuse me, I don't think—" "Oh, come on," Sarah laughed, steering her away anyway. "You look like you could use one." And just like that, she was gone, dragged along before she could protest. Alara stared after them. Did that just happen? Beside her, Vera let out a quiet huff of amusement. "Looks like your mom made a friend." Alara glanced back at her, a hint of concern slipping through. "I'm a little worried for yours," she admitted. "Mine might eat her alive." Vera smirked. "Relax," she said. "My mom's tougher than she looks." By morning, the kiss was everywhere. Clips of it looped across social feeds, slow-motion edits, shaky phone footage, captions screaming rivals to lovers, and no way. Someone had added music, someone else had added commentary. By the time Alara woke up, her phone buzzed nonstop with messages she didn't have the energy to read. The entire school was talking. Alara expected to feel sick about it. Instead, she felt calm. Vera showed up outside her dorm like it was the most natural thing in the world, slinging an arm over Alara's shoulders the moment she stepped out. Proud, unapologetic, like she wanted everyone to see. "You okay with this?" Vera asked quietly as they walked across campus together, voice softer than her usual bravado. All the attention, everyone knowing. Alara glanced around, at the staring students, the whispers, the phones half lowered when they noticed she'd seen them. "It's fine," she said honestly. "They'll get bored. They always do." Vera grinned. "That's my girl." Inside, Alara felt something loosen. She hadn't realized how much she'd been bracing for fallout until she stopped doing it. Vera's friends didn't waste any time. They cornered her between classes, arms crossed, expressions way too smug to be intimidating. "So," one of them said slowly, dragging the word out, "you gonna tell us how long this has been a thing?" Vera scoffed. "It hasn't been that long." "Oh, please," another chimed in. "You've been acting weird for weeks, skipping parties, actually doing your coursework, sneaking off to the library like we wouldn't notice." Vera winced. "You were counting?" "We were concerned," someone else said dramatically. Then smirked. "Also, We knew something was up. One of them bumped her shoulder. Who would have thought you'd end up with the nerd? Vera opened her mouth. I mean, they continued quickly. Good for you. She's smart, intense, kinda terrifying. Vera smiled despite herself. Yeah, she is. Another friend snorted. Honestly, bet you liked her all along. That's why you kept bullying her. Vera rolled her eyes. That is not... It always is, they said in unison. Vera laughed, shaking her head. Shut up. But she didn't deny it. By the end of the week, the noise faded. There was a new scandal, a new rumor, a new thing to talk about. Alara and Vera became old news to everyone else. To them, though, everything still felt brand new. They studied together, really studied. Alara helped Vera organize her workload without judgment. Vera challenged Alara when she overthought herself into paralysis. They trained harder, sharper, pushing each other without tearing each other down. It wasn't what Alara had imagined love would be like. It didn't slow her. It didn't distract her. It didn't cost her anything she wasn't willing to give. Instead, it made her better. So did Vera. They still argued, still competed, still met each other on the field like rivals who refused to lose. But now, when the whistle blew and the crowd faded, there was always a hand waiting to be held. And walking across campus, Vera's arm draped easily over Alara's shoulders, Alara finally understood something she'd never allowed herself to believe before. She didn't have to choose between ambition and connection, between control and joy, between who she was and who she loved. Because sometimes, the thing that challenges you most is also the thing that lets you grow. And sometimes, the rival who pushed you hardest is the one who stands beside you in the end. Together.